Good afternoon and welcome to the next in the series of the Successful Introvert show. My name is Brian Johnson and I'm great to be here this afternoon talking to you. And perhaps just a brief introduction who I am. So I come from a background of 30 years in financial services, and then really for many of those years I struggled to be the person I wanted to and felt frustrated about what was going on. It took me a long time to really learn how to be successful as an introvert. And so in the last 3 years, I've been a bit of a transformational journey, changing the direction of my life. And to be honest, 4 years ago, I couldn't really have expected where I would be today, doing these presentations and enjoying making a real difference in people's lives as I continue in my coaching journey. And today in this workshop, we're really focusing on how to successfully manage your boss. And that's really, for me, quite an important area. You can be sitting in work and feeling frustrated and wondering what's going on. And sometimes it's really just taking a step back and thinking about what is going on. So if you were to put yourself back to yesterday morning, how did you feel on a Monday morning going into work? Was there a sense of dread, despair? You wonder how you could avoid your boss, hoping your boss wasn't in. I know I can remember working in one office and really Monday morning team meetings. They were just that moment of dread that at 9:30 we'd all gathered for a big team meeting. That just wasn't where I felt at home. Me starting on the journey of successfully managing your boss is all about understanding how you are feeling now, noticing the feelings and emotions that come up when you think about your boss. And it's really starting with, what do you want out of your relationship with your boss? What will you gain from better communication with your boss? There are so many things we can get out of the work environment, and each of us has different goals and aims. And simply looking for a happy work environment is career progression, advancement, that promotion, that's where you are aiming for. You want interesting work, do you want to find interesting stuff rather than just getting dumped with whatever's there? You really want to feel that you're appreciated by your boss. You want an idea that your ideas are listened to by your boss. A place you feel you want to be there. So on a Monday morning you wake up going, today. It's only by being clear on what we want, we can gain and start to define how we get it. Just acknowledge the negative side. It can be a challenge. Just trying to find the positive. What do we want? What do we want to gain? What are we going to gain going forward? Is the big challenge. And working out the next step is what we're working on. Just spend a few seconds just thinking about what we gain from better communication with your boss. Then moving on to doing something slightly different. What could they want from you? We often focus on ourselves. Oh, this is what I want, this is what I want. Why don't people see things my way? And to take control of the situation, a great skill to learn is put yourself in their shoes. What could they want from me? What is that they are looking for? It's really stepping out your current view and exploring, looking at the world from their point of view. But just taking a few minutes to think about yourself as an outsider. If you're looking in, seeing how you and your boss interact together, just thinking about what they would see. How would they see your communication? Are you really communicating with each other? A mismatch in the body language, a mismatch in the communications. Are you avoiding proper communications? What is going on? Then taking a few seconds just to notice the eye contact. Notice the language. Notice the facial expressions. Lots of short, sharp sentences. Is there engaging conversation? Is there just strictness? Just notice what is going on. Just reflect back on those few notes you've just made and just think, what have you learned? What can you learn? What have you learned from reflecting on your boss and what they do? And this really moves on to what can we explore? What can you change about how you interact together? What can you change about the way you communicate? And to help with this, you can think about how other people interact with your boss. Is that different from what they do with you? And what could you do differently? Can you write down 5 things you could do right now? There are so many options out there. I'm thinking there are at least 5. Right, there must be at least 5 things that I could do. Think about how you start the day. Interact throughout the day. Just spend a little time really just exploring that. One of the things it's useful to notice is how different people communicate and how we can do it differently too. Knowing the capacity we have to do things differently, really important skill to learn. Just think, which one would I start with? If I had the opportunity today, where would I start? And really to get there, you can ask yourself, what could be different if I change my approach? Are you happy where you are? The answer is no. What have you got to lose from not doing something different, not exploring a different option? What will you regret if you continue doing the same you're doing? What do you miss out on? How can you approach this exercise in a way that you enjoy it? Look at what like-minded people do. Look at people around you. Look at the difference between those you aspire to be and those you aspire not to be. Look at how they interact differently. Notice the difference. Notice the difference changing your approach can make. We can start, for example, thinking on a Monday morning, What does the boss want from you on a Monday morning? How can you meet his needs on your terms? Who else can you involve? What is your plan, that initial interaction with the boss? How will you define your boundaries? Sometimes it's really about noticing the quiet spaces and what's going on. Being clear who you want to talk to. Identify the fun stuff, the stuff you're going to enjoy. It's really thinking about that. So notice at the start of the day who your boss interacts with, how he interacts with them, the conversation they have. Notice the small changes you can have. Even the first step, saying good morning. Something you want to talk to him about, say, oh, I grab you to catch up on something. Notice how your boss prefers to interact. So if your boss comes in the office and always starts friendly conversations with people, going in there and going straight in with the work, it's probably not going to be appreciated. So finding the small talk you feel comfortable with. Sometimes it's really the simple things, just remembering stuff about your boss, what he's done, and where he's been. Just understanding if he likes he or she likes their conversation first thing in the office, you are engaging. If they're a boss that comes in and they straight away, while we're bringing on work, you know that's the right time to engage with work. So it's understanding their needs and identifying your terms. Actually, what is your priorities? What do you want to get out of your engagement with them? You involve other members of the team. Do you want to? Engage with intention. That's always key. Why are you having this conversation? Building a relationship, strengthening a relationship, rebuilding a relationship, and getting that appreciated. And notice your boundaries. It's not about going in, having a 10-minute chat about the football that doesn't interest you at all. It's having a chat about anything from the train journey in to briefly mentioning the football score from last night, or the weather, or something, making a joke over something that you think will build a relationship, but knowing your boundaries. Don't go in for a 10-minute conversation with a boss tomorrow when you've never had that with them, because that would just feel awkward. You build up and you end a conversation, learning to end a conversation on your terms. So, just a quick 10 seconds, 30 seconds. Something that makes you both happy is what's important. And it's really thinking about that. And noticing when conversations get uncomfortable and being willing to break before that happens, going, okay, this is my limit, this is my boundary for this conversation, and I make my excuses and go. It's always finding those boundaries, and it's just doing it on your terms. And it's really the areas we're thinking about. And so we come to an end. For me, the end is where the end is. For instance, I do these workshops on my terms. They're scheduled for 30 minutes, and depending on the engagements I get, depends on the length. I know there might only be 15 minutes if I'm sitting here after a busy morning, building my energy to do these things. They're likely to be shorter than if I've had a more relaxing morning and been more focused. But it's learning my boundaries, my limits, and what I'm doing differently. I've been doing these for 6 months. I noticed a difference. I noticed my initial thoughts have changed, and the feedback is really great. And really thinking about how we can improve. Always thinking about what's one thing I will do different today than I did yesterday. What is that one small step? That's the big question. And finding that is really the key. What would you do different? If you're unhappy where you are, change something. Changing things until you find the level of happiness you want. And continue to improve. That's really where I'm focused on, making a difference. I'm not one of those people who just talks for the sake of it, who love to send their own voice. I love to get to share my knowledge and experience and help people find the success you want. So hopefully you've taken something away from today. If you want to email me, you can do that at brian@brianpauljohnson.com. If you'd love to put some time in my diary, have a proper chat through how I can help you, you can use the QR code to get the link through to my diary. I'm always happy to have a chat with people and see how I can help. I love making a difference in people's lives and seeing them achieve more of their goals. So thank you for your time this afternoon. And if you do have any questions, you can drop me, watching this live, you can drop me a message in the chat. Otherwise, you can just send me an email, and I look forward to seeing you next Tuesday. Have a great week.